Hello, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight, and we hope you had yourselves a productive day. Now, top of our edition tonight. Rwanda is expected to spend an estimated 4,650 billion Rwandan francs in the next fiscal year, according to the 2022-2023 budget framework paper. The government of Rwanda has announced that the first batch of migrants from UK are to arrive soon. The top officials of the judicial system in Sao Tome and Principe have come to Rwanda with the intention to learn how to integrate technology into justice system of the country, as well as how to integrate court cases for faster rulings. We are glad to have your company tonight and coming you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Kalisa. And as a kick-off our tonight's edition, today at Rugwiro Village, President Paul Kagame received Ambassador Bankole Adoye, African Union Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security, for a discussion on various issues and security challenges on the continent. President Paul Kagame also received Ahmed Katan, Special Envoy and Advisor at the Royal Court of Saudi Arabia, to discuss strengthening existing bilateral relations. This Thursday, President Paul Kagame also met with General Stephen Townsend, USA Africa Commander. The US and Africa Command is responsible for military relations with nations and regional organizations in Africa. To more matters making our edition tonight, Rwanda is expected to spend an estimated 4,650 billion Rwandan francs in the next fiscal year, according to the 2022-2023 budget framework paper. While presenting the proposed financial plan to the Parliament, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uziel Ndagijimana, disclosed that in the next financial year budget, the country will focus on implementation of strategies to deal with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war and effects of climate change that may result into disaster. We do have the details. As approved by the cabinet meeting, Rwanda is expected to spend an estimated 4,658.4 billion Rwandan francs in the next fiscal year 2022-2023, representing an increase of 217.8 billion Rwandan francs, or 4.7%, compared to 4,440.6 billion Rwandan francs of the revised budget of the fiscal year 2021-2022. On the sources of funding, domestic resources will amount to 2,654.9 billion Rwandan francs, equivalent to 57% of the proposed budget. External financing with grants will be 906.9 billion Rwandan francs, representing 19.5% of the total budget, while loans will amount to 651.5 billion Rwandan francs, representing 23.5% of the 2022-2023 budget. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uziel Ndagijimana, noted that the reduction in the COVID-19 infections led to a reduction in the amount of money spent in fighting the pandemic. More than 156 billion Rwandan francs will be allocated into the agriculture sector, representing a 9.5 billion Rwandan francs reduction compared to the current fiscal year. Minister Uziel Ndagijimana noted that some agriculture projects will not be funded, but the sector will be funded enough. We have a 300 million Rwandan francs project in place, and 210 million Rwandan francs will be invested in agriculture infrastructure, including establishing irrigation systems and repairing damaged ones. And a lot of money will be channeled into agriculture loans on low interest rates, and these will help farmers. And this will be invested into the entire farming chain, from planting to getting the produce on the market. We now have a clear solution on how agriculture investment will give out tangible returns. Overall, domestically mobilized resources plus external loans, which the country will repay, will account to 80.5% of the country's proposed spending in 2022-2023. The issue of rising market prices and low salaries for workers were some of the complaints raised by MPs. In this planned budget, I did not hear anything about a change in salaries. How are you planning to facilitate public employees earning low salaries deal with the rise in market prices, which is expected to continue until 2023? Food security should be given much attention. I'd also like to commend the single crop policy because it has helped Rwandans deal with the issue of hunger. On this, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uziel Ndagijimana, reiterated that a law on salary tax exemption for workers earning below 60,000 francs a month is expected to be passed. For the last 3 years, we have been trying to increase teachers' salaries by 10% every year. The plan is to raise salary tax exemption from 30,000 francs to 60,000. Meaning some of the teachers in this salary range will completely be exempted from tax after the law is passed. The draft law is currently under review in the Parliament. During the 2022-2023 fiscal year, more than 2,834 billion rand francs will be allocated to projects meant to boost economic development, representing 60.9% of the total budget. More than 1,175 billion rand francs will be allocated to social welfare projects, representing 25.2% of the budget, while 647 billion rand francs will be allocated into good governance, representing 13.9%. And as we move ahead to more matters, the government of Rwanda has announced that the first batch of migrants from UK are to arrive soon. Reassurances have been given that the migrants will not be a problem for the country. We do have more with Serge Node.
Rwanda and the UK signed the agreement concerning the illegal migrants in April this year, and the deputy spokesperson of Rwanda's government says the country is ready to honor its commitment. If 500 were to be sent, we would receive them. However, as you know, they will be coming in groups and there will be no surprises. They will be giving us a few weeks' notice and indicate the exact number coming so that we can prepare for them. Today you visited 3 locations, but we actually have 5 that have been prepared, so you understand that we are ready to receive the first ones. It was also emphasized that the migrants will be guests in the country, not prisoners. The hotel managers will monitor them the way they do regular guests. Those people are not coming here to be imprisoned and will be free to go anywhere they want, if they can afford it. No one will stop them from visiting different parts of the country and the national parks if they want to. They won't be locked up or anything like that, and will only inform us of where they are going just in case they get lost, because they won't be familiar with the country. Please understand that they're not coming to be prisoners here in Rwanda. Top government officials have also reiterated that Rwanda will have no problem accommodating the migrants.
Kwakira abantu nubugiraneza ntabwo turi igihugu cyifuza ko ari abantu bababara kandi dufite ahantu twabashyira twe iyo tusangira nabo.
Receiving those people is an act of charity, and we do not want to see them suffer when we can accommodate them. A lot of explanations have already been given about it, and if anybody is irritated by our act of charity, well, then they can do nothing more, and we'll just have to tolerate it. We are, however, sure that no diplomatic problems will be caused by this, which is why nothing was kept secret. We give you the figures daily, and our partners are doing the same. And that is why it is surprising that people are not commending the gesture. Still, we know that after it is done, people will applaud it. Of the 5 locations being prepared to receive the migrants, 2 are hotels and 1 is a hostel. All have the capacity to take more than 350 people.
The Rwandan government says it is now importing wheat from Brazil and Australia as part of a response to a recent rise in prices of flour due to the war in Ukraine and Russia, countries from which Rwanda has been importing the product. We do have the story with Ethan Tashabia.
A notice at a bakery in Kigali reads, "Due to the rising cost of the material we use to produce bread, we'd like to inform you that the price of sandwich salt bread is now at 700 Rwandan francs. The notice was issued on May 12, 2022. Traders here and elsewhere say that in less than a year, the price of bread has seen an increase of more than 200 Rwandan francs.
We used to buy a loaf of bread at 500 francs. Now it has seen an increase of 200 francs. We are now buying it at 700 francs. Some traders tell us that the price of wheat and sugar have increased, but it's very difficult.
It's not favorable.
The price has gone up a lot and we think that will continue to rise. We have changed the wheat we used to buy and have decided to reduce the quantity, and we are doing our best to not run out of it at home.
Owners of bakeries and producers of other products that need wheat flour said that the rise in prices of bread have been caused mainly by the rise in the price of wheat and demand that something be done to reverse the trend. The prices of bread rose because there has been an increase in the price of wheat flour, which has now almost doubled. Prices have skyrocketed over the past month. So many traders have started inflating prices, but we have not increased the price of bread because we are hopeful that the prices of wheat may go down soon.
We urge the authorities to follow up to prevent unnecessary overnight increase in price of commodities.
The management of Azam Rwanda, one of the leading wheat producers in Rwanda, said the rise in prices have been due to wheat prices on the international market as well as difficulty in shipping it. Kazimbaya Ndangano Faraja, a spokesperson of the company, reassures wheat consumers that a solution will be sought in the due course. We're doing our best to sacrifice some of our profits, but make sure that consumers continue to be able to afford buying wheat. We are confident that the price of wheat or the means to bring it here will be reduced. But what we now prioritize is ensuring that there is no shortage of commodity, I mean wheat flour. Only for we understand that prices are a big issue, but we are still containing that issue now. The ongoing war in Ukraine has been widely mentioned as the root cause of the rising oil prices as well as declining global supply of wheat. Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente noted that the government and the private sector are working towards finding a solution to the rising commodity prices, especially wheat.
tumaze kubona amasoko mu bihugu bigera kuri 2 harimo Brazil na Australia.
We found new markets in Brazil and Australia from where we can import wheat. The problem is that it is a long way off because we feel that the cost of shipping has increased, but the size of the wheat we import has not changed. The only challenge is the cost of shipping it to Rwanda.
No zirimo kuva kure, shipping cost ikaba nini.
In addition to the price of bread and other wheat products these days on the market, there's also been an increase in the price of basic commodities in general. However, the government of Rwanda is optimistic that this issue can be resolved next year as the country continues to recover from the economic shocks caused by COVID-19 pandemic. Ethan Tashobia, RwandaTV News.
Many thanks, Ethan, for the report. And as we move ahead, the top officials of the judicial system in Sao Tome and Principe have come to Rwanda with the intention to learn how to integrate technology into the justice system of the country, as well as how to integrate court cases for faster rulings. Precious Chirezi filed this report.
Sao Tome and Principe's Minister of Justice that is leading the delegation has pointed out that their country is carrying out reforms focused on capacity building in their justice system, and they could learn a lot from Rwanda. The president of Sao Tome and Principe's Supreme Court has also pointed out that aside from technological development, Sao Tome and Principe could benefit from incorporating Rwanda's method of adopting policies of different legal systems to improve their own. The Chief Justice of Rwanda is of the view that the justice system should be reformed consistently. Additionally, he assured the delegates that the partnership between the two countries will be maintained.
The reason why we are very happy that Honorable Minister and Euro delegation, you chose Rwanda to come here, and so that we can exchange the way the Rwandan judiciary has been advertising its court process, and our team will be more than happy to share with you our experience.
Rwanda has a unique way of searching for and relying on homegrown solutions, as was evident in the time of the Gacaca courts and Abunzi, or mediators around the country, who have played a significant role in making this possible. Precious Chidezi, RTV News.
Thank you, Precious. And as we move ahead, people living in Nyabihu of the western province of Rwanda are not happy with the progress the district has been making in its fight against malnutrition and stunting, with some of the children having been found to be extremely malnourished. Officials at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, say the problem has persisted because of parents refusing to see the importance of a balanced diet and misusing nutritional support provided by the government. Sergeant Nore continues.
The local residents we spoke to pointed out that Nyabihu's location alone should mean that malnutrition and stunting need not be a problem in the district. We are not happy about it and believe stunting should be completely eradicated. This sector of Shira has plenty of food, including vegetables and fruits. The problem is the mindsets of parents, and that is why we have established centers to teach them about this. What makes us most unhappy about this matter is the fact that pretty much anything grows here. Yet our district is among those with malnourished children. I cannot be happy about something like that, being a local resident hearing such things about our district. Officials at the Rwanda Biomedical Center say the problem has persisted because of parents refusing to see the importance of a balanced diet and misusing nutritional support provided by the government, which is why measures have now been introduced to make sure that children actually get the nutritious supplements provided for them. District authorities say they are also working to change mindsets at the local level. Following the training provided for religious and church leaders on the problem of malnutrition, we have now asked them to train their followers to help change mindsets, and we view them as important partners in this endeavor. We are also going to rely on early childhood development centers and also visits made to expectant and nursing mothers, anyone with a child below the age of 2 to 3 years. Health workers are actively involved in this so that all mothers know how to protect their children from stunting. Nyabihu district currently has 49 malnourished children, 11 of them severely. In 2015, as much as 59% of all children were stunted in that district, and that figure had been reduced to 46.7% in 2020.
According to the findings of the Institute of Policy Analysis and Research, IPAR, female-headed households were most negatively impacted by the COVID-19 due to having unstable income compared to those headed by men. Jen Motoni reports.
The research was conducted in 2 surveys as they focused on the effects of COVID-19 on businesses and on households in Kigali and 6 secondary cities. During the launch of the findings of the research, while assessing the impacts of COVID-19 on households, it was noted that majority of households were hit hard socially and economically, as explained by the Executive Director of IPAR Rwanda, Eugenia Kaitesi.
The major hit districts are the border districts. We looked at Rubavu, Rusizi, and we think mostly these are districts that are doing businesses because of cross-border trades, and there were lockdowns, people lost jobs, people lost income, people, and mainly that's how far it went. Other cities that were hit are Nyarugenji, here in Kigali, and mainly this is because of the closure of the businesses. And the rest of the cities were at the same level, but they were also hit because people were in lockdown, people lost jobs, people closed businesses, and so that's why there's some of the evidence that shows that there was a negative impact.
The senior researcher at the Institute of Policy Analysis and Research, IPAR Rwanda, Jean-Baptiste Sengiyumva, says that during the surveys, people pointed out that some of the adjustments that they made dealing with the effects, including the change in expenditures, and that their savings also declined. However, policies were proposed to be implemented in terms of improving the economic prospects, including improving access to finance and support for people who cannot work on the top.
We noted that most of expenditures for both food and non-food items, they declined a lot because many of them were no longer able to get their monthly income. Others already lost their jobs. Others, their businesses were closed. So the results, or as a result of that, they were obliged to minimize their expenditures. Again, another finding from the survey, it was noted that in terms of balanced diet, eating vegetables, eating meat, so many people changed their diet due to the low income at household level. And in general, the mostly affected categories of household were those headed by females from the findings, whereby in total or in general, most of families headed by females, female-headed household, they were the most to be affected by the pandemic.
The analysis indicates that the three main impacts of COVID-19 on households were loss of jobs by 50%, increase in cost of living by 58%, and low income by 60%. It was also pointed out that the service sector was most severely hit, with median profits in February 2021 down to 60%, followed by industry with 54% and agriculture 47%. In February 2021, households reported that their income had reduced by 40% on average compared to March 2020. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Many thanks for your company tonight, and on behalf of the entire news and technical team that made it happen, my name stays Sam Kalisa. Stay safe. Good evening.